All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time. Final day, final match of the Intel Extreme Masters, all for this trophy right here. We've gone through 5 days of StarCraft 2 to get to this point, and only 2 players remain, both of them securing spots to the World Championship in Katowice. But still, who's going to take the bigger prize pool, more WCS points, and this trophy home? Who's going to hold it up and kiss it at the end of the day today? We're about to find out. First up, the player who almost had a perfect streak coming in to the finals, but in fact he says, you know what, I'm happy I got the loss behind me because now I know I'm going to win the finals. Going for another first place win in StarCraft 2. It's going to be soO! And his opponent, of course, teammates, but not right now. They gotta go against each other. The ruthless Terran coming in and saying, you know what, no one can beat me if I play my perfect StarCraft, and he seems confident enough to do so. It's going to be Innovation! All right, before we start, just got some simple questions for these guys. First up for soO, we heard Innovation saying, well, my mech's different, guys. If I play perfect, no one can beat me. I want soO to rate Innovation's mech play a little bit here before we go in.
저희 전 준결승 후에 이진영 선수가 제 메카는 좀 다르고 제가 완벽하게 플레이하면 누구도 이기지 못할 것 같다 그렇게 말씀하셨는데 어윤수 선수는 이진영 선수의 메카닉을 어떻게 생각하세요?
뭐 딱히 다른 테란이랑 다를 거 없다고 생각하고 그리고 뭐 메카닉만 잘하기 때문에 그것만 이기면 될 것 같아요.
You know, I don't think there's anything special, and on top of that, that's all he's good at. So if I can beat his mech, no problem in the finals. Of course, earlier Innovation said that's not true, but here's the big question. Is soO gonna stay at second place again? Let's hear it once again from the man.
이진영 선수 좀 전에도 여쭤봤지만 지금 이렇게 같이 서 계실 때 어떻게 생각하세요? 다시 어윤수 선수가 다시 또 한번 그냥 2위에서 멈출까요? 아니면 우승을 넘겨드릴 것 같으세요?
그냥 왠지 느낌이 제가 이길 것 같아요.
I just have a feeling, just a feeling that I'm going to take the trophy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to find out. Again, soO versus Innovation, fighting for this trophy on the final day of the Intel Extreme Masters at Gamescom. Another big round of applause for these two as they get ready for the match. Sean and the boys, tell us what you think.
Thank you very much, Chobra. This was meant to be. From day one, everybody said Innovation soO is going to be in the grand finals, and welcome to day 5. It is the grand finals. Joining me here on the desk for one final time is Pig, Todd, and of course Rotterdam. Someday you have to change your ID because these intros get more and more difficult every time I do, but welcome to the desk for a final time. What a finals that we have. This is the dream finals. Everybody wanted it, and now we have it, Roddy.
Absolutely. 2 of the best players in the world, 2 players that have played against each other before in a tournament final, 2 of the highest ranked players in the world, and surprisingly 2 players that are not doing super well right now when it comes to WCS ranking. So a lot of these people at home want to also see these guys do well because we want to see both of them at BlizzCon, because there are not many people out there who would say that neither soO or Innovation does not belong at the best 16 players in the world, right? Like, they are that caliber. They are supposed to be at BlizzCon at the end of the year. So this is kind of like an overall victory for the community.
Yeah, I mean, both players will play at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. It was awesome to hear, joining the likes of the players that qualified from Shenzhen. But talking about the WCS points now, just a little bit before we talk about the upcoming match, Todd. soO came into this tournament at rank 33. Yeah. He's now jumped up quite a few ranks and sits in a position where he's really starting to catapult himself to a position that isn't in the top 16, but very close to being so.
Yeah, I think he's like 22nd, 23rd, and if he was to win the tournament here, it'd be 19th, just right outside the top of 16, which, if you look at some of these names, it's like SOS Dark, you know, they are like 15th and 16th, I believe. These are guys that are supposed to be, I guess, of a lesser caliber than soO currently in his top form. So I could totally see soO, you know, put on a few good more performances, attend maybe even more tournaments than these guys, and eventually qualifying. But it'd be really good for him though to get a win here, because Innovation is already in the top 16. He's already doing better than soO. soO needs this more than Innovation.
Absolutely, and soO has to credit absolutely almost everything to that Kesper Cup win not too long ago. It jolted his WCS points back up. He's got his confidence back. He's playing better than ever before. But coming into this, has he met his match in Innovation? What do you think about this finals here, Pig?
It's going to be a crazy match, but Innovation's been showing us some really strong style, and it's the style which historically soO struggled with. We saw some moments of weakness against Fantasy, and I think for soO here, it's going to be a battle of how much did he learn from those losses? He says, oh, I got my losses out of the way.
Yeah.
But has he really identified those mistakes? Is he going to make sure none of that happens again? If so, this is going to be a very close series.
I mean, one of the historic finals in StarCraft 2 was Innovation versus soO, a GSL final in April of 2014. One of the losses that went under soO's belt as a second place. It can't happen again, surely, because all the bad stuff and the bad memories are going to start flooding in for soO again, Roddy.
Yes, it is. But I mean, Innovation's TVZ has been looking so incredibly good lately. I saw you were going over the results, and I checked them as well. The last Zerg that Innovation actually lost again was soO, but that's like 10, 11 series ago. So obviously, there's no way that soO wants to lose again against him. He would love to get his shot at revenge, but it's so difficult. And, you know, he can say in interviews like, well, I've learned from it, and I think I'm ready. No one is going to go into the grand final saying like, I hope he doesn't play Mac, because, you know, it's going to be really rough for me. So obviously he's not going to say that, but I do think that he's struggling a little bit against it, especially when someone like Innovation is going to execute it.
soO against Innovation in GSL finals, that was a crazy comeback, right?
It was a 4-2 victory for Innovation.
You're confusing the one with Soki.
Okay. Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah. This was a 4-2, and it was pretty... soO couldn't keep up with Innovation in the games back then, and that's what I have a slight feeling we may see again here. Coming into the final, soO absolutely dominating until the playoff point, but he looked a little bit vulnerable and shaking around, especially when the key word coming in here, Mech, started to play. Moonglade and yourself pointed out weaknesses, Hellion run-bys, and small little things that shouldn't be happening. And he allowed his opponent to crawl back into the series.
Yeah, I think the real moment which surprised us was when, it looked like he had that game in the bag on Coda. He was so far ahead after wiping out the entire Mech army, and then he was maxed out. He had Ultras, he had Queens, he had Vipers, and he kind of just wandered around the map, expanding, spreading creep for a few minutes. And really, you can't give Mech time, because soO's shown if they get to that endgame army, if they can just hunk it down, he can't deal with that. No Zerg players can really deal with that if you let it go like unfettered for too long. I think he's got to jump on top of his timings. He's got to be sharp with them. If I had to start thinking about where the key to victory is for soO, I think it comes down to the intelligence of his openings and the first 10 to 12 minutes of the game. I think if he can put himself in a strong enough position there, he can start to come in with fast Mutalisks or fast Speed Roaches, maybe even some Nidus Worm or drop shenanigans. But he's got to hurt Innovation before he gets up above 150, 160 supply. Past that point, things start to look a lot bleaker for soO.
Do you think his last series kind of plays against him? Because not only he showed weakness against somebody that's supposed to be, I guess, not as good as Innovation, most likely, or does he use that to his advantage? Because even though he's revealed some, he's already got a good warm-up against Mech, and he might finally fix some of the mistakes that we saw where like he took some damage here and there, because he has some pretty impressive games in there as well. Do you think it helps him, or?
I think it's actually, it is a help for him, because if you look at how Innovation plays, he's going to have watched those games, but we don't really see him changing up how he plays his Mech in ZvT. He always goes for that very defensive turtle up to battle cruisers game. So I think soO kind of gets that experience. He gets the flow of, okay, defending the Hellion counters, don't let drops sneak into my main base. And as he improves his strength against that, I think he should feel very warmed up in the initial stages. Then again, the late game, I don't think he got too much warm-up in terms of those engagements. I think if it goes there, he's going to be just as rusty.
Is this a guarantee that we're even going to see Mech? Is a guarantee? Are we saying that?
Yeah, pretty damn sure. Maybe one game we'll see something different, but I mean, Innovation, he just does what he does best, and he has seen those games, and like playing bio against soO, you know, like you have to be a very, very big man for that, and you have to play out of this world. And Innovation just shows us right now, like, this is how he likes to play StarCraft, and there's absolutely no reason at the moment to switch it up. Maybe if he somehow magically goes down 0-3, then he's going to switch it up. But game 1, game 2, and even game 3, I'd say Mech for sure. So
let's go ahead then and say that Innovation's going to play Mech. If he doesn't, whatever the case. But if that's what his plan is, more than likely going to be, what is his plan? Just to lock down defense in the first 10, 15 minutes and build that ultimate army? Is it as simple as that?
I think so. I think it also depends on maps, and he's definitely going to need to be on the lookout for what soO's doing, because soO definitely, got a few, I was going to say cheeky, and I guess there's no way around it. He's got a few cheeky builds that he can throw in there, some very fast mutas. Like, there is stuff that he might try and attempt, because innovation, as good as he is, as consistent as he is with everything, the mechanics and the reads, he is predictable across all matchups. In his build orders on certain maps, he's going to be doing a lot of these same build orders. And if soO really picks up on that and does one of the hard counters that you can do against a certain build orders, there is a chance he gets a very good lead. Or even win right out.
Well, there's so many hard counters though, right? There has to be. Obviously, like, it's not that simple.
Yeah, I think it's one of these things where when you look at mech play, it is such a slow style. It's very inflexible. So if you look at it in terms of like the choices soO has, if he goes into this and says, I'm not even going to bother scouting to verify, he can just go straight to roaches. He can do one of these gasless openings we don't see as often. And for innovation, I think it's just going to be a matter of rotating his openings to have a bit of variance. Doing some Hellion Banshee aggression, doing the more greedy 3 command center, just kind of keeping the Hellions around and making sure they live. As long as he mixes up his play enough, that'll be nice. But soO, if he can kind of tailor his builds just perfectly to be super greedy at the right points, just go straight for the anti-mech, it could work out very nicely.
Well, the game is ready, boys. Last thoughts?
I want to ask you guys very briefly one last thing. How good do you think is likely that either player will play pretty aggressive, like very aggressive from innovation early on, or like even some all-ins from soO?
I think there's a good chance soO, they're both teammates. I think soO will definitely throw in a Roach Bane at least one game.
In the best of 7, one game.
At least one game, probably 2 or 3. There'll be some sort of sneaky aggression. All
right, last fast thoughts here, Roddy. We got to get to the casters. Last thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree with Pig. I would say 1 Roach Bane maybe, not too many more.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time to start the grand finals of the Intel Extreme Masters here at Gamescom. We're going to go to the commentary team for this one, Colaris and Moonglade.
Can't think of a better person to have alongside me here for this grand finals here, Moonglade, because you are our eyes into the Korean scene. And what we see here is soO and Innovation, 2 of the very tip-top players of that region, battling off for the championship.
Yeah, 2 heavy hitters for SKT, the team that is on top of Korea right now. So much success recently, especially from both these players in Pro League, Star League, GSL, you name it, they're winning it.
Yeah.
And here they are once again in the grand finals.
Yes, they are. And the countdown has already begun here to get into game at number 1 between soO and Innovation. Innovation has looked like an absolute bulwark, real strong powerhouse throughout this entire tournament. soO, can he be the one to stop him? Because he is the only person that people have looked to all tournament long to try and trump the man to the left. Innovation, who tries to go for the title. Down to the bottom right-hand corner, it is our blue Terran representing SK Telecom T1. It is Innovation. And up to the top left, my God, soO, we have our red Zerg representing SK Telecom T1 as well. It is soO.
Wow, there you go, starting off with a bang here. And I'm sure Innovation will not be expecting a 6-pull to start things off.
Where is he going?
Well, I think we might even be seeing aggression from both sides. And I like this a lot, both of them really want to mix it up, play the complete opposite of what they are used to. And that is really throwing out these proxies and early rushes.
I wonder how much goes into a team house environment of them actually facing off against one another, because obviously, they are, with this second SCV coming out as well, obviously they know each other's styles very well, but at the same time, they could infer that both of them do something crazy at the start of this. I mean, why is this drone out here?
That is an excellent question, and it might even run into that second SCV. Oh, so close. This actually shows the level of mind games teammates have to go to when they're playing against each other like this. Both of them practice against each other so much, and we're seeing a Ling's drone all in behind this.
What?
Completely all in from soO.
Oh my God. All right, well, rub your hands together, clap them together as well, because here we go. It's going to be a good old battle royale of drones and Lings. Oh, it's just like, wait, he's turning around. He realizes there's nothing there.
He scouts it.
Oh, my God.
He knows that there's proxies on the maps. He knows it is a 2-racks as well. What does he do with his low Zerglings? Is he actually going to go for it? No. He's looking for the barracks right now.
Oh, man, this is ridiculous. soO is turning around for the defense. He's looking for it desperately, knowing and understanding what's going on. Sees himself an SCV here. He's going to send the links down towards the bottom. He now knows the trajectory of that SCV, so can infer where those Marines are going to be coming from.
He has to get there now. He has to shut down these Marine productions.
Oh, the positioning.
Oh, beautifully done there. It's going to be so hard for the links to get in.
But at the same time, they're still going to be able to get themselves at least that one Marine. They're trying to bunker this off, at least trying to shut this down. I say bunker, I shouldn't be saying bunker, should be saying supply depot to try and create that little nook and cranny. And the 2 Marines more will pop out here. soO with these links, already trying to power this away. He's got himself an Overlord on the way, but he kills off those, and he's going to be able to receive more Marines if they come out. But these links are getting weaker.
That's right, they are getting weaker, and depending on where the Marines spawn and kite, they could actually wear down a lot of these things. But it looks like Innovation going to give it up right now.
And land again?
Like the mind games, Alaris, even crazier than we thought.
Oh, wow.
He's actually going to let it... No. All right.
No?
Strange. I guess they want a little bit more time for that ramp to be completed as well. So we see that Brax half done at this point.
I know this is a bit of an odd question to really ask in this kind of situation, because we don't end up in this situation much at all, but who really comes out on that on top, Moonglade, in your experiences? It's wild.
Well, right now, because it was such an early pull, like that was the most extreme early pull you can go for. Yeah. We do see the worker count right now, 12 workers from soO to the 16 of Innovation, plus Innovation is making that command center as well. So he's pretty far ahead at this point. soO maybe should have actually gone for the main base, tried to trade out Zerglings for those SCVs instead of trying to shut down the Marine production. Hard to say. It's a very awkward build order sort of matchup.
Would it have been as severe if the drones hadn't been pulled? I mean, you rarely even see that itself.
That makes a big difference, absolutely, and well spotted there. Pulling the drones like that, he pretty much stopped his economy for like at least a minute, like completely flat there. It's going to put him so far behind, and now he's in complete catch-up mode.
And now Innovation also had sent one of his barracks into the main base to actually have a look around, and he has gauged exactly soO's position, which allows Innovation here to just feel very, very comfortable back home. soO's going to be playing a little bit of catch-up here.
Yeah, for a while longer. That barracks actually scouts everything he needs to see as well. He's like, that's how many workers you have. 14 workers right now. He has so much space and time to get up whatever he wants, and I'm sure eventually we will most likely see that mech style.
Are there any ways here that soO can cut big corners to try and catch up? I mean, where is he going to try and find the room here?
He might actually just have to try for an all-in at some point, because I don't see him actually catching up in economy. I mean, they're going to be on even bases, but he's going to be behind and working for some time longer, not to mention the mules that are dropping as well to boost to that Innovation's economy right now.
Well, so Innovation here just moving his barracks towards the third base. I mean, technically, if he saw no Ling there, he could try and land it there and slow things down, but there is a Ling there, and it won't be too easy to do much with that. So just going to use it for the scouting continuous.
Yeah, trying to get everything up and running once again, but when these Hellions come out, the Lings have to disappear from the map. There is no map presence anymore for the Zerg outside of Overlords. As those Lings see the front, but they see the Hellions, they're going to have to give up. And from here, I mean, things just get worse.
I mean, usually when you have going up against these kind of Hellion numbers early on, your speed is a lot quicker, right? So he's having to throw down the Roach War in here to try and compete with that position. Otherwise, there is the potential that those Hellions could just run amok in his bases.
That's the most scary thing of all right now. I mean, because you have not many queens, you have the bare minimum queens right now. You have a small amount of slowlings, making more now, but Hellion run-bys are a very real threat.
Yeah. So adding on some more Lings himself here to just buffer and find time for that. First queen is at the front and will position itself well. Likewise, second queen comes out. He knows, soO knows that there is the potential of Innovation trying to hit these small windows with 4 Hellions. I wouldn't even mind running past, to be honest, but not knowing exactly when speed finish can be a deterrent sometimes.
Yeah, well, you know, as well, as he doesn't know for sure how many drones are at that natural, but if he saw it, he'd probably think twice about even doing a run-by, because the economic damage doesn't really need to be done at this point. He just has to sit pretty and make sure he knows exactly what soO is up to. And with 7 roaches on the way, soO is going to be looking to give some economic damage back right now.
Yeah. Lings escape out. Did spot that though with the Hellions. That's 6 Hellions at the front, which are now going to start poking away at the Queens. All needs to do is bring down back that one Hellion, and we'll make that one die. A little bit un-Innovation-like.
More and more roaches being made, so we do see soO building up a number of them. Now he's going to send them across the map, but we already have a Banshee on the way.
Yeah. It's going to be difficult here for soO to really kind of make work. I mean, Innovation with the Banshee, as you said, not only is it great in an offensive capability, but it can be used in a defensive one as well. He is supply blocked right now. He's just opening up the taps, getting more and more overlords and looking to try and make something very, very aggressively happen.
I think we just did see the roaches scattered out here. This is the huge sort of gamble that soO is taking at this point. Desperation from behind after such an all-in start.
Yeah, you mentioned it perfectly. I mean, it's spotting out the fact that he was never going to really have to catch up in terms of the economy. 22 more Zerglings are in production at the moment. This Banshee's got a lot of work to do, but it's a great defensive unit here against this kind of army. Of course, he'll lose a few SCVs, but Innovation, all he has to do is make sure he's not going to be breached. He added the armory before. Anyway, the Hellbats come in and roast up everything.
There's just way too much here. The tech is there for Innovation. He has every answer he needs for roaches and Zerglings right now.
More Zerglings flood on forward. Maybe they can get in here and try and do something, get themselves an SCV or two, but extra Hellbats that are popped out here. soO committed so much lava to this, and he's not even killed off that many workers at all. GG, game number 1 will go to Innovation after a wild start here to this best of 7, and he is happy with that one.
Yeah. soO really went for a gamble there. I gotta say, it might be because of the map. You know, Terraform is a scary map to be playing mech on, and I'm sure Innovation has no intention of, you know, going into the bayou if he can avoid it.
Yeah. Tough stuff there. Tough stuff for soO to start off. Of course, he was trying to call his opponent's bluff. Innovation also throws out a wild card, and, well, soO, unfortunately, had to catch it. It was very, very annoying for him to deal with. And is there any other situation? You kind of alluded to it at the beginning of that. Is there any situation where a 6 pool against that kind of 2 barracks on the map play is ever going to work out? It's very desperate.
I think if maybe the drone that soO sent towards the base eventually actually found those barracks on the way, it would have been a lot easier because he would have been shut down those barracks before they completed. Marines wouldn't be getting out, and then he could really start to pressure the front. But pulling the drones like he did creates such a problem for soO because there is no real coming back from that. That you pretty much have to kill no matter what.
Really, really tough position there for soO, and not exactly what we come to expect from him either. You know, this goes into the area of, he is my teammate, he knows me really well, let's try and just kind of throw a spanner in the works really, really early on and catch him off guard. Unfortunately for soO, it was unsuccessful. Iron Fortress is going to be our next map. Imagining him to fall back to a more normal play style, because in a best of 7, if you go down 2 games in a row here at the very beginning, the demoralizing edge can sometimes take over for sure.
Yeah, that would really start to set in, especially if it was due to like another risky all-in from soO. Kind of very uncharacteristic of his play, you know, compared to what he's used to, compared to how he's been playing this entire tournament. And, you know, as well as that said, Iron Fortress is not a map Innovation's going to be comfortable on, especially to go mech on. It is much harder to go mech on this map. It is a much more spread out map. You can play against it a lot easier if Innovation was to do it. So I think we might see a bit more of a traditional Bio versus Ling Muta Bane sort of style on this map.
And as much as, you know, we've seen Innovation actually prefer mech in this matchup as well, it's not like he's bad at that bio that you're mentioning. He's actually extremely good at that bio that you're mentioning.
His parade pushes are something else, yeah.
Yeah. I cast my mind back to Intel Extreme Masters qualifiers where we've seen him going up against Zergs. Some of those games that really I can recall is him going up against the likes of Curious, who eventually was able to win out in that game that he played against him. But the bio that Innovation is able to show is still very, very top-notch, absolutely world-class. As we get into game number 2 now here for the Intel Extreme Masters Finals for Gamescom. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, we have our blue Terran. Representing SK Telecom T1, it is Innovation. Up to the top right-hand corner, it's our red Zerg, also representing SKT1. It is soO.
Thankfully this time, not seeing an early pull. Going to be more of a normal start here. I'm sure it's the last thing soO wants to do on this kind of map.
No doubt. And at least he gets himself the Overlord going in the right direction. So will Innovation check the top of his natural with an SCV later on to spot if that is going to be the case that he's up there? Would alleviate a little bit more of the scouting. But something that Todd caught on to previous was, you know, Innovation is not worried about scouting early. He's not worried about losing those few minerals because he believes if he has perfect information on his opponent, he will be looking fine.
Yeah, that's what it really comes down to. And it's more of a pressure for the Zerg to get everything he needs to find out early on here, especially against Innovation, who has the potential to go mech very dangerously, as well as the bio. You really, as a Zerg player, want to be on top of that. You got to make sure you know going into the mid game, before you even get Mutatech on the way. It's like, okay, he's going bio. I have to have everything in line. I have to have Baneling speed on the way, as well as a Baneling nest. Or I have to get Roach Warren down and Roach speed on the way, or I'm going to be very far behind.
And Innovation, always about that efficiency, has already positioned his barracks in such a way that he doesn't have to remove it for when he wants to throw down an add-on. So very, very keen here is Innovation to streamline his build as much as absolutely possible as soO takes a gas just before that spawning pool goes down. That's pretty quick.
Yeah. Pretty standard sort of opening from soO though. Just taking that hatchery first, playing a greedy game to start it off here. And just a Reaper opening from Innovation, which makes a lot of sense on this kind of map. You want to have the scouting availability, as well as, you know, the ability to put pressure on and just keep harassing the front, denying the creep. And that comes, it becomes a lot more easier as well when those Hellions are out with it.
And because of the positioning there of the Overlord, obviously he poked in, saw the barracks, and saw the supply depot. Yes, one, he knows where Innovation is, but two, even after not seeing the gas, can probably infer that gas has been taken because of the positioning of the barracks, because he's alleviating the need to move it for a reactor that's already been started up. So soO, you know, keen small little bits of information.
Yeah, that Overlord will also want to be on the lookout if it can to see if a second Reaper's on the way, or it's going to be that reactor marine sort of follow-up. It really makes a big difference based on how much you have to protect your queens at the front of your bases there. So do see some a little bit of harassment, but nothing really coming of it.
Yeah, the Reaper just gonna have to back on out for now. No Lings even died just yet either, so good small defense here by soO at the moment. You don't want a Reaper to get out of control, as a drone will be poked away out. He's bringing it towards his Zerglings. Look at that zoning out movement, but at the same time, Innovation still hasn't taken a hit. He's looking for that drone. He doesn't want to expend money here. And this is the streamlining capabilities of soO as well, although still looping around. Ooh, wow. Really good dance, because he didn't even have to make any buildings to cancel them and lose minerals.
Yeah, that is actually really efficient play from both sides there, and it's such a stressful time for Zerg that early on. You never want to lose anything really to a single Reaper harassment. It can be can really get in your head. Oh,
and he's found that.
Oh, that's cheeky. Look at that.
High ground vision. Good job, Marine.
That's a pain. That's a free Overlord.
That Marine's an observer right there.
Yeah,
that Marine is Funker. Him being himself. There you go. Oh, look at that. Funker instantly reacts. That's me, that is.
Well, that's a big supply block for soO at the wrong time. You never want to get supply block this early on here. Puts everything a little bit behind as we see 3 Overlords queued up to kind of make up for it.
Well done there by Innovation so far, as he will push out with his Hellions as well, adding on extra gas, and with Widow Mines en route as well. You can all anticipate what he may be going for. This with the medevac here, this Widow Mine drop could catch you a little bit off tilt.
It should do, for sure. Considering what we see from soO right now, I don't think he'd be expecting this kind of aggression to come in. Not even a Spine Crawler at the front just yet either. He's kind of going into that 2-base muta style as fast as possible. Making a few more Lings now and only the extra extractors. Looking to get the mutas on the map before any sort of aggression should come his way.
The Innovation really just trying to kind of poke and prod at his teammate here, as trying to maybe throw him off kilter. Not too surprising for us, at least, watching it now. But for soO, as you said, might come as a little bit of a shock, as he does have these Overlords in position to try and spot that out. And the Reaper alone, he spots the left one, but not the right. So, cool little scouting there for Innovation to try that, but in the end, he is still going to get spotted.
Yeah, well, soO's got to be on top of this, otherwise the mines will get down in the mineral line, and that will create a lot of problems.
Might try and drop them in the crevices, and he does, because he's limiting the surface area Lings would actually have on that, and he's actually going to get himself a few kills here. With retarget, onto the drones, gets himself 5. Good move by Innovation.
That's a lot of damage. A lot of Lings went down as well, so these Marines getting dropped in the natural might be able to do some more damage. It chooses not to drop them, maybe fishing for an Overlord instead.
Yeah. All too easy to say, okay, I've been spotted, I'll back off. Not really much I'm going to get done with it. But dropping the Widow Mines in between the Extractor and Mineral line so that the Lings can't get surface area on, it's really, really clever moves here from Innovation.
Such intelligent play. We are seeing everything get united up together, and a third base is going to be attempted, but they're waiting for it. Another blow to soO. Everything's just getting slowed down right now.
It's when you walk down one of those dark alleyways and you're like, I don't really want to know if I want to go down there. And you go down, sure enough, you didn't want to go down there. Poor drone.
Yeah, bit of a nightmare there. Innovation just getting everything up and running while he's doing all this damage. Third command center has been completed. Can I let the Lings in? A little bit of a bait there, perhaps.
Will pick up, looking to go for the drop. He realizes that all those queens are out of position to go for the defense. He also spots himself the Spire, knows exactly the transition is going to be hitting here. soO at the moment has to evacuate out his mineral line, loses a few drones here or there, but 8 Mutalisks are on the way. The medevac usually would be destined for doom here. And likewise, that Viking, he's a little bit far out as well.
Oh, very nicely done with the transfuse.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to get supply blocked again.
Good stuff.
And Innovation's really taking advantage of the mutas not being out just yet. He might even get a cancel on this third base. If he actually gets this, it's going to put soO even further behind in a way that I could not imagine. Finally, it's going to be able to send it home, but the third base got cancelled again.
Here come the reinforcements to make sure, try and save this medevac. Normally it would be dead in the water, but the reinforcements come along and get themselves a muta here as well. Innovation. Every single little angle of this game he keeps covering, and he's denying creep this early on. This is really impressive stuff so far from him in game number 2.
And I think soO is in a lot of trouble right now. No Banelings out right now. Only a Spine and 3 Queens plus the mutas. So weak against this kind of number of Marines and Medivacs.
Yeah, if that Spine Crawler goes down, all hell is going to break loose here. He has to take the mutas. He has to use them in a full straight-up engagement, but more reinforcements are coming along. 2 Widow Mines as well again into the fray. He's trying desperately to keep the Mutalisks alive while dancing against them. The Spine Crawler has actually done a lot of damage, but Queen's going to end up falling. Spine is very close to dying off as well here. Manages to fend it off. Great defense by soO considering the situation.
Considering the situation, they are neck and neck in terms of supply right now, but that third base is already up and mining for Innovation. He is miles ahead. He has so much momentum right now, and he's not going to give it up anytime soon.
Yeah, the third base is down here behind all of this. Armory is on the way. The Baneling nest is finished, but he doesn't have any Banelings here at all to be able to help this out. The Marines are going to shred up the Lings. Mutalisks are going for the aggression again. 1-1 is completed here for the Marines, so they're able to trade pretty well. And just Marines alone for any Mutalisk he gets and all these Zergling numbers, it's pretty brutal.
It's pretty brutal. And Innovation now starting to creep ahead with the supply lead. And from here, it just gets worse and worse.
It's 61 workers against 55. Now, when I say that, you're thinking, for the Zerg? No, not for the Zerg, for the Terran, as that third base has been down, up and running quite nicely. And soO here needs to gain himself traction towards that third base. Right now, Innovation is in control, and it will be that bio play that you were mentioning before that Innovation can bust down and can be in commanding control with.
He is in so much control right now. I was not expecting him to be this one-sided in this kind of matchup on this map, but I mean, look at the creep spread from soO as well. It is almost non-existent. There's just been so much pressure this game from Innovation. He has not let up once.
I mean, the pressure thing is something that you were very importantly bring up, because usually in a 2-base muta situation, isn't it the Zerg that's wanting to be over the other side with their Mutalisks, having got them so quickly?
Yeah, I mean, they're meant to, you know, shut down the map control, shut down the drops from happening, but Innovation just didn't let up. He maximized that one drop he had for the longest time, even managing to cancel that third, and now, I mean, soO's just been put so far behind again and again and again. He's trying to find desperate moves with these Mutalisks, but he's not finding much at all.
At least soO found a small little bit of room to breathe whilst those Mutalisks got over to the other side. But we repeat, small, because Innovation is looking to move on forwards here. He was looking maybe to hunt down some of this, but there was also the drop to the middle. He's not afraid of trying to attempt these drops, even though Mutalisks are out on the field, and he actually has no overlords over there to actually spot this.
Currently, no, he's going to be dropping just outside of range in the fog of war here. soO is going to have no idea until stimmed Marines are in his main base.
That previous Viking from minutes and minutes and minutes ago got so many overlords to the point where he was able to just clean up this path, open it up. It makes a little highway here for him to move on in. And not only is drawing him away, denying some mining time over in the main base, he was repositioning himself towards the middle, getting himself a few creep tumors. These Marines once again trying to go for trades with the Mutalisk. They get themselves at least 1, and 7 drones go down, Moonblade.
And while this is all happening, Innovation behind this aggression, you know, this aggression just to keep him busy, do the damage where he can, stop that creep spread. 2-2 is nearly finished. Drilling Claws is almost finished. He's building such a scary army to try for that final push.
Trying to shut this down to the left-hand side. soO would love to get himself a 4th base, but he forced the cancellation of that. Will get out with the majority of the Marines as well. Army size, 108 army size against 83 here for soO, and it is gathering big momentum. Once 2-2 has finished, what are the upgrades set up for soO? I don't think so brilliant. Only 1-1 going up against 2-2 with the army advantage.
This is a complete nightmare for soO. I mean, he's going to be behind in every single way. Army, upgrades, you know, he doesn't have any sort of decent positioning advantage with this creep spread so small. It's going to be such a hard fight when the time comes, and look at where Innovation is sitting.
Widowmine burrows at the front. Drilling Claws is also finished here. He gets himself that Widowmine at the front with the Banelings, but he's lost a big chunk of his army there. 2 Widowmines as well as the firepower here of the Marines, and trying to morph in some more Banelings as quickly as possible. A few more Marines will drop out them. They're at those Mutalisks to the right-hand side. There's quite a lot of them. They're going to swing in from the right here and try and cut down as much of this army as possible. Not too bad here for soO to stop the first wave.
Not a bad cleanup at all. He's actually saving that Thor. Didn't drop it at the last second.
Silverlings and Banelings actually wrap around on this army. The Mutalisk is still in massive numbers here. soO is going to chase this back. Good stuff here in terms of defense. Really good stuff.
Somehow turning this around. He's going to be looking for the counterattack. He's going to be running into the reinforcements though, and that is a fantastic position for Innovation.
My God, how does soO do it? Despite being down in army supply, he got enough Banelings just when he needed them, and on 1-1 as well against 2-2. Brilliant stuff.
You know, that might have been his one opportunity to do some real damage. He managed to crush that army, which can be so hard. But at this point, 4th base is up and running. It's going to be landing towards the Zerg, and it's going to be a planetary as well. He is certainly running out of time to really do damage with this Ling Muta Bane army. And it's on 1-1 right now. Only 2-2 started just briefly.
Hard for him to kind of crush down onto that location. Even double Widowmine is going to burrow there. The Lings technically should have seen that, and he will be using the Mutalisks to great effect over towards the natural. No reaction, didn't repair the missile turrets, so that gives a little bit more room to get some SCVs there.
5 SCVs, a little bit of harassment there where he can, and now he's got his 4th base up and running, but at the same time Innovation does as well with a lot of mules to back it up.
That's a lot of mules.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. The creep spread also has not really been remade from soO at this point, which is going to prove to be a huge burden when the next Terran push comes. They can set up shop right outside there and start pressuring on the 3rd.
What's even scarier is if soO actually anticipates it only being a missile turret there, when there is still those 2 Widowmines in that mineral line underneath what we're seeing there. It's even hard for Funker to grab onto them. That's pretty difficult to spot there as a Zerg, unless you saw it with that Link to begin with.
And that's the last thing soO needs right now, is his Mutas being even more weakened than usual. Look at this spread, look at this positioning. It's so difficult for the Zerg to ever engage into this because there is no creep spread to help out.
He set himself up on flanks. He's got his Banelings and Lings up towards the top right-hand side. He wants to try and sandwich onto this army and shut it down just like that. Once it groups up, once it tries to overextend slightly onto creep. Lings and Banelings on the right-hand side, trying to get themselves to reinforcements. Lings as well as the Mutas on the left, trying to get onto some of these Thors. They're taking a lot of damage though. Innovation's army here has a lot of power behind it, and there's still 2 Thors up towards the top. A 3rd one is going to be joining, and with the buy, he sacrificed so many Banelings onto those Thors.
He really did. He absorbed everything.
GG. Game number 2 goes to Innovation, and right now he is looking absolutely on point. Give him any tool and he will use it to great effect.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's in complete domination right now, and soO, he must be a little rattled after this one. You know, game 1, okay, you lose a game like that, you can throw it away. Game 2, you're on a much more favored map in your position. This is kind of where you're more comfortable, as we did see him, how comfortable he was against the likes of Fantasy earlier. He's in a nightmare scenario right now.
Now Innovation in full control of this series. soO, I think you phrased it perfectly. Going to be a little bit rattled.
You have to be after that. I think there is no doubt about it. I'm sure he knows what his teammate is capable of. Innovation, like, this guy is one of the best Terrans right now. and he can do this kind of stuff. I'm sure he's faced it many times in the team house, but right now on stage, looking for that that championship, getting dominated.
Yeah, it's been difficult. It has been difficult. You've got to remember that Innovation, I think in a similar position to soO, both of them came through the qualifiers. Both of them came through the online Korean qualifier. And they mentioned it nicely on the desk, where every single time we have these online Asian Korean qualifiers here for the Intel Extreme Masters, very, very commonly do we see both of those players or those players in the grand final. They're here once again. But Innovation just... People have been trying to put roadblocks up against him here time after time after time in this tournament, and he's been yet to be shut down. soO, in the previous series, had a little bit of trouble there against Fantasy. Maybe that gave Innovation, you know, a bit more of a tip-off, because he was watching the whole series. I was sat next to him watching that series.
Yeah.
So he knows exactly what to expect here from soO as we get into game number 3. And spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner, it is our blue Terran representing SK Telecom T1. It is Innovation. To the top left-hand corner, needs to gain some traction here now in this series, needs to bring himself back some momentum. Also representing SK Telecom T1, it is soO.
Uh-oh, what do you see?
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, he's going to try it again. I mean, it worked the first time, kind of in a weird way, but it still worked.
It's going a strange direction as well. Not exactly the direction you would exactly expect, but considering the layout of this map, this is perfect to avoid the first Overlord, because you go any other way, and you can sometimes be spotted very easily.
That's right. If you can get if you can get both racks up and running without it being scouted at all, Marines are out, bunkers started in the natural. You know, it's such a hard sort of build to defend against. And look how close it is to the natural of soO's.
Exactly.
It's right at the front door there.
Innovation in a bit of a rush. They were promised Korean barbecue after this one, as were we all promised Korean barbecue, and Innovation wants us to be there as quickly as possible, apparently.
He misses home a little too much.
Seems so.
Well, it's going to be a hatchery first from soO.
Oh my.
That's a big problem to start things off, and let's see if he's going to try and scout it all. Overlord, you know, getting kind of close.
Yeah, kind of close. If Innovation wins game number 3 off of this, though, I don't know how soO is going to recover mentally. Oh, he's actually going to be able to send this Overlord.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be seeing it. Oh, no!
The direction change! Oh, no!
So close to seeing that. Pixels away. And he starts his spawning pool just a little bit later. That was a 16 pool. That's a little too greedy for my liking.
So, once these Marines hit, I want to see the reaction on his face, because this is gonna be so demoralizing if he does go down in this game against it. It's gonna be so early in the bunker. It's already begun on the low ground, and he's gonna slowly leapfrog it forward.
Yeah.
What a place to put the first bunker as well.
That's a brilliant place to put that bunker. I mean, it's gonna be up and running. The second one's gonna be on the way in just a moment's time, near in range of it. It's going to give the Marines a lot of kiting potential here.
Innovation sees the hatchery first. He's got to be a happy camper after that. As the SCV gets sent forward, he's not going to shoot it just yet.
No drones heading down either. This is a huge problem.
Oh my god.
He's going to see the bunker with his hatchery, and it might even be too late.
Fallings are on the way, but now he sees the first bunker, or at least he thinks the first bunker being constructed here at the natural. soO needs to be able to hold this off. If he goes down another game here in this series, it is almost going to be lights out. Very, very difficult to be able to hold on against this. Even salvages look how confident Innovation is. Even salvages the bunker down to the low ground because of how much of a strength and hold he's got on the natural.
That's right. He's pretty much given up the natural at this point. There is no way he's going to be able to hold it. He's investing in so many lings and queens, but it's already at half HP.
Oh my gosh.
Second bunker, third bunker on the way. More and more Marines coming out as well. I like this 2 spine crawlers up in the main base. I think he's going to try and walk them down, or he's going to at least try and protect the main base from here. But it's the hatchery in the natural is so low.
I think, did he even see the spine crawlers going up towards the top? No, he didn't quite catch on to that fact, but I mean, he can pretty much infer what's going on. There have been some wild changes. Sometimes you can try and go for painliness and things like that to break out, but it's all a little bit too late. A fourth bunker is going to go down. Innovation is going to have a stranglehold on soO now in such a pivotal game as well. The Spinecrawler's trying to get down here. The Lings trying to move forward so they can get that down here, but he's just going to be able to dance in and out of these bunkers if he wants.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to buy him a lot of time. That hatchery's not going to be able to go down for a long time. He brought that queen down from the main base so he can put down a creep tumor and creep these Spinecrawlers forwards as well.
He's trying to find the sweet spot on these spines, but it's very, very difficult. Look at the rally point out for the Marines, because then he could just pop it out straight away. If the spine does start hitting, he could potentially try and use the time in between the swings, but because there's two spines, it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, that's right. One just a little bit out of range, so it's not swinging.
Might use it. Might use it.
Well, he might just do it.
Okay, not going to try and be cute or anything like that. He's just going to continue to have a proper stronghold on this. 3 spines eventually against 2 SCVs will bring 1 bunker down, but then he's got to start leapfrogging forward slowly. With the amount of bunkers that are there, Innovation abandons the Marine production at the front and is just happy to cause soO so much denied mining time. Baneliness is on the way here, Moonglade.
Act of desperation, I'd have to say. Maybe going to try and go for that big Bane bust. He's going to start working on those spines again, but it's going to be hard. 3 spines like this and a queen with transfuse.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very important. That transfuse energy. Good range here on the spines. The slow breakout. Going to get the salvage before he even kills that off. Command center started behind this. Innovation. Oh my God.
He's in such a comfortable place right now. Complete transition. He's like, okay, I've done the damage I had to. Your base is being completely denied. It is continuing to be denied. And you've invested in 3 Spinecrawlers. So many Lings behind this, and the Baneling Nest is completing. He's going to go for that counterattack.
He's opened up the floodgates. These Lings going to have to not only kill these Marines, but then go straight over across and start busting things down. He's got that Baneling Nest for one reason and one reason alone, and that is to try and bust down this door, bust down the wall. Innovation knows what is going on now. After seeing this many Lings, he's going to have to try and bunker down back at home and hold on against the torrent of a power.
Yeah, this is interesting, actually. We haven't seen Innovation try very hard at all to try and block up the top of that ramp there. Only 3 supplies. That means 5 Banelings can actually bust it open.
Yeah, Banelings morphing in. He doesn't really have that many units here to be able to greet this. I think Innovation might be slightly misreading the situation. Of course, he's trying to transition onto a starport or something like that, but surely that's superfluous. He's going to get bust.
Yeah, he's going to let this open. I mean, the bunker might finish up in time.
Oh, the Lings flood on in. soO, we're looking for the counterattack, looking for the counter win, basically, off all of this. There's no Marines left here at all. 2 more are on the way. Cancels himself to starport. Realizes the Banelings getting there to 18 SCV kills. What a great counterattack here by soO. Innovation really misreads the situation, and he is going to be punished for it in turn. It's 2 SCVs against 13. He's hoping that the Hellions are going to be able to clean up, but that is very, very far from the truth, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Hellions can only do so much against Speedlings like this when they're completely surrounded from the get-go. And yeah, just a complete blunder from Innovation, you know, really misreading it, investing way too much in that block with the bunkers at the front of that natural.
Oh, that could have been such an easy victory here for Innovation, but didn't want to bunker down at home, didn't want to kind of prepare for that. There you go, GG. soO takes the counter initiation, and he will be able to take a game here in this best of 7. Very important that he's able to pick that one up. We spoke about how demoralized he could potentially be after a loss like that, going 3 games down in the best of 7.
In that way.
But he showed that he was able to rally on back. Great stuff by soO.
Yeah, that would have been complete demoralization from there. Like losing to a relic of a strategy at this point. It just never happens anymore unless you completely get, like, mind gamed, I have to say. Like, it really is one of those rare strats that work these days.
Yeah, of course. Innovation having the slight misread there, just expecting his opponent. But I mean, with all of those Lings, what else could he be doing other than something very aggressive after the breakout? I mean, going over to a hatchery after that, it seems kind of a huge uphill struggle.
Yeah, it's always going to be like incredibly from behind, and no one really wants to play that way. The Zergs have very few options when they're put in that situation, when their natural's being killed and denied for that long. Maybe Innovation was just assuming that it was made to kind of defend, try and overwhelm the bunkers at some point, maybe chase down the Marines, take map control. He certainly was not expecting that kind of counterattack.
Yeah, it seems so. Well, with how he reacted to the losses against 4GG and him saying that they were just silly losses in the end yesterday, I can only imagine that he feels the same way about that one. But for now, Moonglade, we are going to go to a short break, and when we are back, it's going to be game number 4 between the SK Telecom boys in soO and Innovation. Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters here in Cologne, in Gamescom, live here in Germany, as we are in the middle of the best of 7 grand finals between soO and Innovation. David Kim there in the crowd getting his picture taken with all the nerds because he designed a pretty good game, Moonglade.
He did indeed, and we're seeing it right now, Colaris. Next map is going to be on Moonlight Madness, by the way, and this is a fun one.
Yeah, and what a way to end the tournament here. TVZ, one of the most beautiful matchups here in StarCraft 2, as we have soO versus Innovation. Let's get into things. Game at number 4. soO was able to rally back there in game number 3, bringing himself back into this series after quite an ambitious opener from Innovation that looked to be really gathering steam, really gathering in another win, another W on the board, but it was not to be, as we are spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner. It is our blue Terran, representing SK Telecom T1. It is Innovation. Dramatic zoom. And up to the top right-hand corner, we have our red Zerg, bringing himself back a map here in this best of 7. Also representing SK Telecom T1, it is soO! With that lovely Casper Cup badge on. Did you cast that?
I did indeed, my friend.
You did.
I casted that.
The honor was all yours.
It was all mine. I had it all. And
beautiful.
It was delicious. And, you know, that last game, it was a win for soO, but it wasn't, you know, the kind of win that you'd want. It's not really the one that sends a statement. It's not the one that brings you real relief. It's like, thank God I didn't die to a 2-rack.
Yes.
At this stage of my career, because that is such an old strategy that's been around since the start of StarCraft 2. It really has been figured out. It is a great curveball on occasion, but as there's a lot of ways to deal with it these days, and if the micro itself is just right, you can shut it down pretty easily.
And speaking of curveballs, we go from one to another. Innovation goes for a command center first, because why on earth not?
Why on earth not? And you know, this map is one of those newer maps. Very interesting positions on these kind of map as well. Terran can do a lot of aggression against Zerg, as we did see earlier with Fantasy, kind of abusing it with tank drops. No doubt soO is going to be a little nervous about that, and I think if soO doesn't get the scout off of this command center early on here, he'll probably just go into pretty quick 2-base mutas.
Yeah.
That really is the counter to everything that can happen to a Zerg early on.
And if you're unfamiliar with Moonlight Madness, the way in which the structure of the bases work is that the base towards the bottom here for Innovation is basically like a pocket expansion, because we have rocks up towards the top here that deny entrances in other than fire the main until you've killed them. And then when you go to the right, once again, rocks. So Zerg has a very, very difficult time of being able to access that natural base, and Innovation picks a beautiful map here for command center first.
Yeah, it's fantastic positioning. It takes so long for Zerg to try and get through that. I mean, you have Zerglings to start things off. That takes so long for Zergs to try and get through an armored debris like that. And the only other option is roaches, and that is a pretty all-in sort of idea if you want to go for that kind of aggression.
Oh, definitely, definitely. soO, though, going to have to try and identify this, maybe play a little bit greedy himself, unless he wants to go for something extremely aggressive, but I expect greed more so out of soO than anything.
I'm sure he wants to get there. I don't think he wants to, you know, try and play these early cheese games or try to deal with them either. He just wants to get to the mutas. He wants to get to 3rd and 4th base and have a big, healthy army. But his first kind of mission with these overlords to find out what Innovation's plan is for this game. You can go mech on this map, not the worst map for it, though it is a pretty hard map to defend all bases on, because the 3rd and the natural are kind of connected through the main base, so there's a lot of movements. There's no easy way to rush from one side to the other.
Yeah.
Everything is kind of spread out in an awkward way, despite them being pretty close to each other.
Basically, Moonglade, I'm glad both of our architectural points about this map are really on point, as well as Funker, our cameraman, who is able to show and detail these things. I'm glad we've covered all the bases here on Moonlight Madness.
We have figured it all out at this point, Colaris.
We've done well.
We are geologists of StarCraft 2, in my opinion, and, well...
Did you mention the tanks as well on this map?
I did mention the tanks, my friend.
You did? Okay, great.
The tank drops are always an option here.
Cool. I'm
very
glad you got
scary
that.
option. Yeah, well, you know.
There you go. Funker's got us covered as well.
Funker is on top.
He's beautiful.
Beautiful man.
Yeah. Well, for now, lots and lots of gas. So, quick Spire, 2-base play. Not exactly the most economic opener that I was envisaging coming out of him, but it's still a very, very powerful one here, is the 2-base Spire play. how much did soO fully understand his opponent's build? He's seen the majority of it by the looks of things. You know, after seeing the timing of the Starbot, you can infer that it is going to be a command center down to the bottom right-hand corner. So he knows the kind of timing he's going to be looking out for.
Yeah, he probably has a fair idea at this point. He knows he can get to Mutas pretty safely.
Yeah.
And from here, you want to take that third base and continue to try and scout, figure out what Innovation wants to do. And it's going to be the Hellion Banshees to start things off, and a second factory. Make that a third as well.
All right, so a greedy mech play here for Innovation, who across 3 bases just going to be able to look for lockdown position as the Hellions try and get themselves into a mineral land. Those drones, whoa! Grouping up a little bit too hazardly there, and also a little bit of panic now as the Queens try and get back, scramble back. Will lose himself 6 workers, but for 4 Hellions, I don't think that's too bad there for Innovation.
Not too bad. I think the bigger thing was probably that scout. He sees the Spire, nearly finished as well. He knows that link speed is very delayed, so he knows it was a huge investment into this early Mutas. He has to get the anti-air out. He's making mines, and the engineering bay is nearly finished.
Yeah, good stuff that he's able to get that full read. Not even really a read. It's there in plain sight. So Roach Warren is going to go down here for soO, as he knows he needs to transition on away from those Mutas pretty soon by the looks of things, and also understands that going up against mech, the ranged composition here of Roaches can oftentimes, you know, work out really well.
Certainly, so a lot more effective than Zerglings in against most things mech. He really wants to get them out soon, maybe even planning to go for, you know, a Roach timing after the Mutas have done their damage and forced out a composition that's going to be anti-air more than the anti-ground.
That's a great point, because you think about the soO versus Fantasy game on Bridgehead, and how when he was able to control the game with Mutas, then how amazingly he was able to put the nail in the coffin with that big Roach swell. So Innovation's going to have to be careful, because this map can technically sometimes work out very similar to Bridgehead because of the rocks back towards the third base, and because of, you know, being able to swing back from base to base.
Certainly so. It really is one of these maps where Roach timings are going to be a very real threat.
No.
Could not afford that. Only 3 meters on the map. It's time to go into tanks for Innovation. You know, it's like, okay, clearly you haven't invested much more into this.
Yeah.
You're probably investing into Roaches or drones, so I can, you know, make my mech army a lot more well-rounded against everything. And that scan sees the Roach Warren.
Nice. Really nice stuff. Actually, he didn't have a single evolution chamber, did he? Did you mention that before?
I didn't mention that. It's actually a bit of a surprise as well, Colaris.
Yeah, this is going to be a very big commitment by the looks of things, because if he doesn't actually, whoa, he starts +1 weapons on his air.
At least there's 1 upgrade, but not the upgrade he should be getting.
Yeah.
He's going to need upgrades on his Roaches, or in general his ranged attacks, so he can fight in the mid to late game with that composition, because you're not going to be relying on Mutas, Corruptors, or Broodlords anytime soon to fight this army.
This is going to be very interesting to see if this actually works. He doesn't fully know just yet that the rocks are being... Now he sees it, now he spots that it is going to be broken down. So all of this army is going to have to reposition itself over towards that right-hand side, shut down the Roaches, but it's, once again, a big swell. It's like a javelin straight through the middle here for soO with all of these Roaches to try and shut down this location. And he hasn't reacted in time at all. These Roaches are setting themselves up okay.
Yeah, it's actually scary. He's going to be on top of these tanks before they've sieged up as well. A lot of damage coming in here.
Oh my god, there's 2 tanks at the back. I didn't even notice those behind the building that was built, making. So Innovation actually had a much sturdier position than I initially realized.
Yeah, he was really jumping on those front tanks there. He could have maybe traded them out, but still losing a lot of supply for nothing but 2 SCVs.
11 drones go down as well here at Fort soO, realizing that that kind of spearhead movement through the middle wasn't going to work, wasn't going to pay off, and even the Viking numbers rising very healthily here to make sure that he can complement this this mech force.
And now we are seeing, you know, soO take advantage of this map coming from the other side, much more lightly defended, and, you know, constantly back and forth on both sides, looking for ways in to start doing damage to the economy.
He just has great vision. He has the Vikings to the right-hand side spotting out Roaches. He has this barracks to the left spotting out the Roaches. Of course, this air weapons upgrade is something that's taking me by surprise a little bit, because right now we still have no evolution chambers.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting the impression we might see a Muta switch again at this rate. He's saved up so much money already. He can afford 13 Mutalisks right now. It's going to be about how much we see Innovation invest into Thors and Vikings for the future. Currently, you know, on the production tab, only tanks, only Hellbats right now.
I'm really scared for soO here in this game. Innovation right now, he's at 154 supply. Didn't see the lateness of the Evos, but in the end, that's going to come back to bite him potentially. If +2 weapons finishes up, if Blue Flame Hellion comes along, I mean, is soO preparing for some kind of weird, wonky base trade scenario? What is this?
That is a great question. I think it must be he's just biding his time and he's waiting for that Mutatech to come out. He's just waiting to see this army because he's banked up so much money at this point. He can afford 20 Mutalisks at this point. I think it really just comes down to him waiting for the army to move out. He sees what it is and go for that switch.
It's gotta be just straight Muta, huge amounts of Muta, trying to go around and...
There we go.
Okay, there we go. 21 Mutalisks start popping out here. This is basically soO trying to surprise innovation without showing too many Mutalisks before, saying, okay, haha, these 5-4 Mutalisks, that was just a fake, don't worry, I'm just making lots of units on the ground. But it's not the case at all. This is wild here from soO. If it works, then unbelievable, but
it should work, Kalaris, because there's only 2 Thors and 10 Vikings right now. If he magic boxes, even if he trades these roaches for the Thors, that should be enough damage for him to clean up everything else.
That would be good. He's actually brought a lot of SCVs there that are huddled around that Thor. One siege tank's going to die off. He's hoping that the roaches are going to bring him back, but they're not going to. Drops the scan, sees the evolution chambers, sees them not whirring away. What is going on at the moment here for him? Still hasn't revealed the mutants yet. I don't think has... Oh, now he sees them, now he sees the flock. Maybe a little bit scared as to how this engagement's going to go down. He needs to keep those 2 Thors alive. They're so important in this engagement. Can the mutants be ripped out of the sky in time before the 2 Thors go down? And the first one hasn't even died off yet at all, so and then will end up falling. He's got himself all of the Vikings, and he's going to take down the second Thor.
It's just not enough, though. I mean, he's wiped out the anti-air, but the tanks are in the base, the Hellions are in the base. The economy is going to be routed at this point. What can he possibly do? He's going to lose that natural hatchery.
These Mutalisks can't be everywhere at the same time. Innovation understands that. He sent units off every single location. Takes out the main base hatchery. He's got a few units here. Takes out the natural hatchery. Is he over at the 3rd base as well? He's taken that one down as well. Innovation. Despite these Mutalisks being able to shut down the anti-air, it was not enough to shut down this foot of ground force.
Yeah, very ambitious move from soO at this point. Kind of desperate, I think, when he's up against the mech play. He just doesn't really have any real solid way to fight innovation in this time of the game.
A nice attempt here by soO, but now he's got to have these Mutalisks pay for themselves in gold over and over and over, because there is going to be massive amounts of anti-air. He can make missile turrets wherever he wants. His economy hasn't been touched, and he lost 46 workers. It's 41 at the moment against 61, so I actually commend soO for having that many workers left over, but he doesn't even have bases to mine from.
It's a bit of a nightmare situation, and now 4 more Hellions going to the one of the few mining bases he has at this point. Even though there's only a few drones there, complete nightmare situation from soO once again in this series.
He's gonna somehow have to scramble against all of this. The drones getting torched up towards the right-hand side over at this 5th base location, or 4th best location, if you can consider it that. This is still a lot of Mutalisks. soO, with 25 of them in total, going up against 6 Vikings and 5 Thors. Those 5 Thors alone, though, he has to be so careful.
They're bunched up so much, yeah. One volley from all those 5 Thors and those mutas are gone.
Yeah, he needs to just keep his opponent dancing. Keep him dancing. Try and find any kind of little bits of anti-air you can. Sit around on some production. Kill off some missile turrets. Try and keep innovation back whilst you build up back at home.
Oh no! So much damage.
Oh, he lost like 4 or so mutas, even just in that volley alone. A lot of them are very weak. The Vikings could easily pick off 1 or 2 if they get too far close.
Yeah.
There you go. GG. Innovation takes game number 4 after soO tries to go for something that I don't think a lot of people were expecting there to come out.
Certainly not. This is a bit of a disaster, Kalaris. That game was he tried for such a risk. You know, he waited, he banked up so much money. He waited for the army to come out so he could get an idea of the composition. And he's like, okay, you know, the anti-air is weak. If I can jump on top of the Thors and those Vikings, I can wipe out the army. But he didn't account for the fact that innovation can ignore the Mutalisks with his mech army and destroy every single base.
I mean, if that had worked out for soO, then that would have been a true kind of testament to the versatility of the race that is Zerg. I don't make any units for a long time. I kind of get a good kind of idea as to what you have, and then I pop out all my units at the same time and surprise, but that wasn't to be there in the end. It wasn't that simple.
If he had those mutas out, if he had them out long before that army moved out, if he was banking them up for some time, he didn't save up anything, he just made mutas and hit them.
Yeah.
That would have had a great chance because he could have jumped on the army the moment it moved out, started wiping out the tanks. There is no option to move across the map and start trading with bases.
What a game. What a series so far. I'm a little bit bowled over by how well Innovation is playing, and soO, for now, he is one game away from utter defeat here in this. And after seeing that game, like that was a tactic brought out via just not really knowing how to defeat Innovation in a normal setting.
Act of desperation, in my opinion. And look at the face of soO right now. He's grasping at something. Dash and Terminal is the next map as well, which is not going to be any favors for the Zerg player. All the stress is on him right now. What can he possibly do at this point to try and find a way in against Innovation?
I'm glad to have you here with me, Moonglade, for the critical analysis of this series, because it's been quite the wild one so far. As we get into game number 5. Innovation, that man on screen, is one game away from claiming himself the... Oh, I expected this on this map of all things. Innovation versus soO, game number 5. Let's get into it. And surprise, surprise, he goes to the gold.
Yep, straight to the gold base. A huge advantage Terrans can take on this map. They're a rather gimmick one at that. You know, gold base obviously going to give you a lot more money a lot quicker, so your economy is going to be stronger to start things off here. And soO, he's got to have an answer for it, because this is a map that a lot of Zergs tend to veto. You know, they never really practice on this map. They never really want to play it. So let's see how prepared soO is.
Small things, Innovation separating off all of these SCVs in the time that he had onto each mineral patch, so he can get as much efficiency out of them as possible once they reach their destination. soO will spot this very quickly, because there's only one direction you send your Overlord here at the very beginning. And as a Zerg player on this map, what do you think are some of the better reactions to this kind of gold-based style?
I do like going hatchery first regardless of this, but it's really all comes down to weathering the storm, because aggression's going to come hard and it's going to come fast. I mean, there's so much money at this gold base for the early game, but it does run out pretty quickly, which is the one sort of bonus that you have. If you can hold on and just, you know, try and make it to the mid game, the Zerg player has a much better chance, as long as they haven't taken too much damage beyond then.
You can already see the first barracks going down. Going to opt for spawning pool first here against the barracks, as well as gas going down. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Moonglade, but the timings here for Innovation come out a little bit earlier, because he's at the goal with this kind of gas style, and if he's going into a Reaper, does that arrive quicker compared to the normal base? Especially because of the fact that the cliff is so close as well. You know, he has such an option to jump in there and go for the harassment, and we are seeing a second Rax go down as well, so it's going to be multiple Reapers by the looks of things. We'll see what he wants to put his gas into right now. Yeah, as we are seeing second barracks on the way, about to be completed, and we're also seeing the hatchery go down as well. Tense moments here for soO. He knows what's about to encroach on his territory. That Overlord sat nice and above it, because he knows, obviously, it's very important to be able to know what's going on.
Yep, and he knows that there's a Reaper on the way as well, so he has a complete idea of how this build's going to happen, but he wants to see what the follow-up was from here. He sees that second gas as well, second barracks. Second barracks is going to start to make a Marine, so that Overlord is on a time limit right now. Got to be very careful not to leave it there for too long. That's the last thing he can afford, is losing an Overlord at this point of the game in this kind of situation.
All right, Reaper on the way in now. Queen's there to greet, and will not really do too much at all. The spawning pool opener allowed that Queen to be out nice and fast.
No. Well, there you go. Overlord's going to get started working on, but it is only one Marine, so he should be able to get it out alive.
He should be able to do okay for himself. That Marine doesn't necessarily want to loop on around there, and it will be quite far out. Stim has already began here for Innovation as well.
You'll be geared up for a pretty early aggression with the Stim Marines, and with the factory behind this as well. Is he going to go for that tank push that I'm afraid of? Because that is such a hard sort of push to defend from. You can set up that tank, you know, behind the debris at the natural of the Zergs, and the tanks can actually shell it from there. So it's so hard for Zergs to jump on top of unless they have, you know, enough units out in the map to jump on it before it really gets in position.
It's very, very scary. The Reaper already kind of just counting out a little bit at the front. So we'll see that reactor actually going down here for the starport. And maybe see the soO switch up and just go for a big kind of bio force forwards. Yeah, perhaps it's going to be a double medivac coming up from that starport eventually. We'll have to see. A lot of Marines in production as well. And then, you mean that stim is so quick. Yeah. Right, well. So far, soO not done too bad. There hasn't been much hitting him at all. He's got to be a little bit in the air as to what's going on at the moment. He has been able to scout out the perimeter of his opponent's spaces. Whoop. Didn't quite see the Baneling nest going down. Obviously, soO wants to get that out because he knows there is going to be a lot of Marines out pretty soon. And he doesn't manage to spot it just yet. Yeah, Reaper just trying to see what it can. Link speed about to finish up too, so he's going to be able to clean up that Reaper, try and take that map control. This is wild here from Innovation again. Really mixing things up in this series. Almost every single game, very, very different from the next. Oh, we are seeing that tank be made as well. So everything's kind of lining up for this kind of a tank push to happen. Very smartly from soO, working on that debris before it can come his way. Yeah. He's going to have to worry about a double drop before that even begins. A lot of Lings on the way here. A lot of Lings at the moment. He knows that he's going to be hit by quite a few units, separating some up as well. But that's a double drops with the Marines. Fends it off for now. Doesn't feel like he can commit to killing off the medevac or anything like that. Oh, he sees the debris just about to go down as well, and great creep spread outside of it. So the Zerg's going to have a pretty easy time cleaning up anything that might try and move onto it, the tank push that might happen. But Stim has finished at this point. The creep isn't too far ahead. Yeah. Does it feel like soO has bought enough time here before anything's hitting him? I feel like he's really well set up at the moment. He set himself up in a very good place right now. He's still got to worry about when the attack finally comes, when these tanks finally get in place. And he's got to not try and take damage like this. Yeah, actually, separating all those Lings forwards. Of course, he will be able to fend it off for now, but got himself a queen at least. Just heading on back off the creep. The creep is actually doing a really good job of potentially slowing this down, so he will clean up some of it. Very smart there from Innovation. Only having one command center, he's going to commit one of those scans to stop the creep spread. That's how important it is at this point. You know, because he's on one base. This is essentially an all-in from here. He's got to make this attack work. And he does have the tools to do it as well. You know, if these tanks set up and get the right hits on these Banelings. And look at this, going through the main base instead. Setting those siege tanks up on the low ground is going to make it difficult here for the Banelings as well as the Zerglings to ever engage onto the Marines at the front, to actually separate themselves on forwards, but really don't get a good detonation at all. And this is where the pressure really starts ramping up on soO. He's going to have to funnel all of his Lings forwards. That's a lot of Lings here. How is he going to be able to do? Just pick up, get himself 3 Lings with those 2 siege tanks. That's a really good start. Good start there, but huge hits. Huge hits from these tanks. I don't know how soO plans to actually engage into this. He's going to try and wipe out the bio on the top while these queens work in the medivac. I like that a lot. Yeah, that's great. If he can bring down the medivacs, that will stop this for quite a little while. Of course, he does have a high ground vision, so he's slowly kind of shutting this down. But at the same time, the 2 siege tanks are going to go underneath to bring that medivac back. Oh, he actually loses that a little bit too quickly there to these queens. Still has another one in reinforcement. Extra ones are going to come down. Medivacs here, in terms of production, I feel are of the highest importance. Yeah, you cannot be losing medivacs like this. Their spotting is so important. He's actually going to try for the front door here. If he gets a good sort of positioning up here around that curve, it's going to be very hard for the Ling Bane to engage into this, and he needs to get that tank down there ASAP. Yeah, realizes that he's made a small mistake, a small error there with reinforcements. Lings, once again, needs to try and get a wrap around somehow on this kind of army. Make those Banelings come in. He's going to go onto the left-hand side here with the Lings, but the Banelings already die off at the siege tanks before they're able to get further. More siege tanks are on the way. Innovation takes a supply lead at the moment here. And that was seconds before the Baneling speed finished as well, which would have made such a big difference. Oh, and he gets the Baneling nest of all things. He gets the Baneling nest. He's not going to have any more here to help this out. It looks like soO is kind of running out of money at this point, running out of lava as well. 26 Lings are on the way. If he can get us around here, maybe the tank shells will help out with the AoE. Doesn't look like it though. Too much healing from these medivacs. Oh, there you go. GG Innovation here at the Intel Extreme Masters. Not only shows a masterclass here in the grand finals, but also all tournament long is able to show such power and such premise. What a way. A 4-1 victory here for Innovation. absolutely phenomenal here, Moonglade.
Yeah, he really turned it on in the grand finals. We haven't seen Innovation play this clean all tournament, but when the time came, he was able to shut down his teammate, who had one of the most solid runs the entire tournament long.
And that is such an impressive victory here for him. He doesn't even have time to go and pick up the trophy. He is tying his shoelace as he has been crowned the Intel Extreme Masters champion.
Indeed, it is Innovation, your Intel Extreme Masters Gamescom champion. Obviously, I mean, we just watched the games. We know what just happened. But I heard backstage that you said that I feel it 4-1. Gonna beat him 4-1. How did you know? 물론 이제 승 축하드리고요, 우승. 저희 뒤에서 얘기 들어보니까 경기 전에 4대1로 이길 것 같다. 감이 잡힌다고 얘기하셨다고 들었는데 어떻게 아셨어요?
아, 그냥 맵도 테란한테 좀 좋고 또 저도 워낙 자신이 있어가지고 그렇게 예상을 했어요.
Well, you know, the map rotation, the map selections, and just how I'm feeling right now, figured give one away, but 4-1 was going to be the score. 지금 이 자신감대로라면 그러면 만약 오늘 그 누구도 상대를 한다면 다 이길 수 있을 것 같으세요?
네, 지금 이 순간만큼은 다 이길 수 있을 것 같아요.
And right in this moment, I think I could beat anyone else that challenges me here today. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, your Intel Extreme Masters Gamescom champion, SKT T1 Innovation.
Innovation picks up his second StarCraft 2 tournament title here at the Intel Extreme Masters. His last one was roughly a year ago in the GSL, and now fast forward 12 months, he's here in Cologne, Germany, and picks up his second title. Joining me to finish up the tournament, a 5-day long tournament, of course, Pig, Todd, and Rotterdam. We've had a lot of fun over the last 5 days, started in the open bracket, through group stages to the quarterfinals yesterday, and finishing up here today. And Innovation is the #1.
And he won in fashion, man. That wasn't even a 4-1. That was a 5-0 because if he hadn't gone for the double commentator against the one-base bailing bus, that's what the score would have been like. And if he was a best of 9, obviously. So very impressive show of strength here by the machine himself.
Innovation as happy as ever to pick up that trophy.
He is. He's smiling on the inside right now.
He's smiling in the insides.
He's ecstatic, as In Control would say.
There's a slight smile breaking out, and a slight smile for Innovation is a pig grin for anybody else.
It really is. And he's got to be so happy with that win. It's not every day you get to the finals of a tournament, you're going up against another guy who's ranked, you know, I think #1 in the world, and you're kind of like, all right, we can do this, he's my teammate, and then you just kind of 4-0, well, 4-1, bam.
5-0, 5-0. But very impressive. I mean, especially considering the rest of Innovation's tournament wasn't as clean and as dominating as what we saw there.
No, but this was still in a way a little bit expected. I mean, there's a reason why we all thought he was going to win. That was not just a guess or something. Like this matchup in particular, ZvT, you know, it can be a little bit volatile from time to time, especially when you go up against a crazy terrain like 4GG, and against Fancy, it was group stage. A very good Protoss, you know, think about the two guys, for instance, that qualified in Shenzhen. I think they could give him a run for his money. You know, if you put a parting in shape there or classic, like then it's going to get very tough for him. But TVZ, you know that he understands his matchup like no other, and he's so solid overall. And it was a little bit of a crazy finals because there were a lot of mind games involved, as always, as Artosis would say, when two teammates go up against each other in the final. But TVZ, you know, when Innovation is playing like this, I don't know who's supposed to beat him.
Yeah, he said in an interview with Chobra, he just felt good today. He was feeling good, he was playing good, and he really showed it, and he deserves that victory over soO. And that, as you were saying, the 4 players playing at the World Championships so far, with more tournaments, more Intel Extreme Masters to come. Classic, Parting, soO, and Innovation. I mean, what a top 4 so far.
It doesn't get any better than that. Already lining up to be the tournament of the season, really. Katowice is going to be absolutely amazing. And just getting that spot is huge. You get to go over and compete in Poland early next year at the end of the season. It's just massive. And I'm really looking forward to who we get to see qualifying next up in the next couple of trips, actually.
No spoiler this time, like the brackets?
No spoilers.
MMA versus Innovation going to be going?
We'll see you in Melbourne.
Oh, can't believe you said that on air, man.
Wait, I just said it randomly.
Oh, you didn't?
It's not the truth.
Oh, okay. Whoops.
You spoiling another Intel Stream Master, so you got to stop, man. You're excited about those Aussies down under, man.
Uh-oh.
Where the toilet flows the other way around and where scans from Terran go the other way around as well.
Everything's backwards down there, man. Yeah, the scans turn the other way. That's why I never saw the dotted line.
We might as well, we can bring that up. This is actually a hilarious moment for all StarCraft fans out there. When a Terran uses a scan, right? You can see what the Terran sees because there's a yellow dotted line that spots around the scanned area. So, funny enough, weirdly enough, during the tournament, we were there watching this game, and there was a Zerg Spire clearly outside the scan range, and Pig's like, "Come on, Funker." Yeah.
He wanted to put it on Funker.
Put the first person view so we can see if he sees the spire or not. And we were like, what? What do you mean if he sees it or not? It's outside of the scan range. He's like, what do you mean scan range? I'm like, the yellow dotted line, you know, when Terrans scan, he's like, what yellow dotted line? You're a professional player that played in Premier League in Season 1. You are a true commentator now. You didn't know there's a dotted line.
5 years of StarCraft 2 and I never saw the dotted line, man.
You know, like, as much as we make fun of him for that and it's justified, I feel like everybody has this kind of stuff where like there is one thing or two that we don't know.
Here's one for you. Not recently, a few months ago, or maybe a little bit long, maybe I'm exaggerating, but let's say within the last 12 months, Liquid Mana found out that Guardian Shield does not affect melee. What? For years in StarCraft 2, he thought when he activated Guardian Shield against Zerglings...
No.
What? Yes, that is true. It is true.
Refuse to believe that.
Because it is true.
I'm pretty sure he didn't Guardian Shield against only Zerglings in his fights. That'd be ridiculous.
He did.
Really?
TLO told me this the other day. It was a true... When TLO was in the studios, he said... Because I told him the pig story, and he was like, no. I went, yeah. And he's like, well, here's another one that actually happened. Mana had the same problem with Guardian.
What about you?
Me? I know everything. Yeah, I know everything. Of course, I'm the host. Let's get back on track, though, but let's talk a little bit about soO. Another second place. I mean, it's, you know, you can smirk and giggle a little bit about it, but...
That final shot, man. He was packing his bag in the back.
As Innovation...
While the confetti kind of shot everywhere, yeah.
That's really sad, but I mean, at the same time, he's shown a lot of strength and has a lot of success. You know, second places, you know, you can be sad that you didn't take first, but still, that's
another
second place.
Still good. It's absolutely still good. He's
How many second places is it now? Like 8?
6. 6 out of 7.
And they're all at really big tournaments as well, you know, they're not second-rate events. But I think against Innovation, he's not going to be as upset. Like, there were some other tournaments where he really should have won. I felt like he was the favorite, and he started kind of making uncharacteristic mistakes, but I feel like Innovation has his number, and Innovation also is just like the absolute top-tier caliber of player, so there really is nothing to be ashamed of. When someone's inside your head, as we saw that game, he was like being really safe. The one game he goes like hatch first, 16 pool, no scout. There's a proxy rack literally outside his base. Like,
that was perfect.
I mean, Innovation just had the reads. He knew exactly what builds to do and in which order.
Maybe the crazy thing, like also like, is that if it was just him, you know, taking second places and people wouldn't talk about it, maybe he wouldn't care nearly as much. He'd be like, hey, okay, you know, it's just got unfortunate. But everybody's always talking about this. So every time this guy starts picking up steam and does well in the tournament and he reaches the final, people are like, oh, well, I guess, you know, he's poised to take second. In Katowice, imagine, he just qualified for Katowice. Imagine he makes it to the finals. People are going to be like, well, is it another second place there for soO? And every time I feel like this can get to his head too.
He plays in GSL in like 1 or 2 weeks, and I can imagine if he qualifies to the round of 16, like, is another second place coming?
I mean, the silver lining to this second place is, though, that he is going to Katowice, that he's going to the World Championship Finals. And I do think that is, again, a lot of motivation for him to keep on playing. There are very, very few players who have been as consistent as he has been over a very long time now. So, again, he has to you know, he has something to look forward to. He has a big tournament to look forward to keep practicing for, and he picked up a couple of WCS points. It's unfortunate, but like Pig said, this is not really one of those finals where everyone thought that soO was going to steamroll his opponent.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, to be honest. I mean, undefeated until the finals, and he missed those 375 WCS points. Would have been nice for him to grab here, the difference between second and first, but at the end of the day, it is innovation. And it's been a long time coming, but I'm sure he's going to be very happy with this. And this kind of just catapults him a little bit further into the top 16 for the world ranking in the WCS, which we'll see at the end of the year as well.
Yeah, he's now like surely in the run. Like with the tournaments that he has coming up, I feel like there's a very good chance we're going to see more of him.
And let's not forget that this is a great confidence boost for him as well, going into season 3. You know, maybe he wasn't feeling all that well. Now for the first time he flies to Germany and he actually wins the tournament. You know, last time he was here it didn't go all that well. This time he just really delivered. So that is just a great state of mind to go into season 3.
I guess all the traveling hours for innovation coming to Europe paid off this time.
Yeah, it
worked out. The last couple.
Hey, I mean, maybe that's part of the sort of build-up we saw from him as well. You know, maybe today he was finally waking up, and he was actually waking up at morning time rather than kind of being like, whoa, I'm waking up at 4 a.m. and I'm feeling kind of bad by the time I play. It's paid off. Maybe he likes flying to events now. Maybe suddenly flying over to Germany
and winning everywhere.
Yeah, maybe he'll kind of join the foreign scene. Who knows?
Who knows? I don't think he'll join the foreign scene, Pig.
Well, he's already done that.
He'll definitely travel to. He may travel to a lot
so,
more, though. That's for sure. But thank you very much, gentlemen, for all your commentary and analysis for this weekend. And of course, thank you to Chobra for joining us on the last day, and of course, Colaris and Moonglade casting the finals. But that is it done for the Intel Extreme Masters here in Gamescom. And make sure, if you've missed a little bit or want to relive some of the action, go to plays.tv for all the StarCraft 2 games that you may have missed. If you want to go back and check out some of the lower rounds and the lesser rounds, you can find all the action there, including some first-person VODs. Make sure to tweet and also go to facebook.com/IEM and hashtag IEM for all the social media parts you want to do. You can tweet to us also. But that is it. We will see you at the next Intel Extreme Masters Stop. That is it here at Gamescom. Until next time.